In the lush, low-lying landscape of rural Bangladesh, life is intimately tied to water. Each year, the monsoon rains transform the country's rivers, ponds, and wetlands into sprawling expanses, submerging roads, fields, and even entire villages. For millions, this seasonal flooding is not just an inconvenience. It is a formidable barrier, cutting off communities from vital resources, and perhaps most disruptively, from education. Yet, from these challenges, a remarkable solution has emerged: floating schools. These innovative boat schools are more than just a creative workaround. They represent a bold reimagining of what education can look like in the face of adversity. At their heart, floating schools are exactly as their name suggests: mobile classrooms constructed on boats, designed to navigate the waterways that flood-prone regions of Bangladesh depend on. The concept is simple yet transformative. If children cannot reach their schools, the schools will simply come to them. It was this realization that inspired Mohammad Rizwan, an architect and the founder of Shidhulai Swanirvar Sangstha, to pioneer the first floating school in 2002. Guided by the vision that education should not be a casualty of geography or climate, Rizwan's initiative set out to bridge the gap between river and classroom. In operation, a typical floating school is a marvel of thoughtful, low-cost design. The boats, often built from locally sourced wood and reed, are sturdy enough to withstand the rigors of the rainy season. With a single classroom, they accommodate about 30 students at a time. The interiors are simple. Narrow benches line the walls, and windows carved into the reed let in generous light and air. A blackboard anchors one end, and at the other, there may be a solar-powered computer, testament to the school's commitment to bridging the digital divide as well as the physical one. Electricity, a rare luxury in many riverine villages, is harnessed through solar panels on the boat's roof, providing lighting for early morning or late afternoon classes. The daily rhythm of the floating school begins with the boat's journey along the river, charting a course through scattered settlements. At each stop, children clamber aboard, often clutching books wrapped in plastic to keep them dry. Once all are gathered, the boat docks at a convenient spot, sometimes tethering to a tree or a makeshift pier. Classes unfold with a sense of purpose and possibility, lessons in reading, math, and science, but also storytelling, art, and music. After a few hours, the boat retraces its route, returning each child safely home, their minds a little fuller, their futures a little brighter. What sets these floating schools apart is not just their ingenuity, but the ways in which they transform adversity into opportunity. In a country where up to 70% of the land may be submerged during peak floods, the floating school model ensures that education is not a privilege reserved for the dry season. Instead, it becomes a year-round constant, a lifeline that keeps students connected to learning no matter the weather. For parents, especially those of girls, the convenience and safety of having the school come to the doorstep is a powerful incentive to keep their children enrolled and engaged. But the innovation does not stop at the classroom door. Many of the boats operated by organizations like Shidhulai Swanirvar Sangstha serve multiple purposes: floating libraries stocked with books and educational games, playground boats where children can unwind, and even floating health clinics offering basic medical care to isolated villages. Solar-powered lights illuminate evening study sessions, and computers open windows to the wider world. Educational videos, like the beloved Meena cartoons, make learning entertaining and accessible, even in the most remote corners of the floodplain. The impact of these initiatives is both tangible and far-reaching. Shidhulai Swanirvar Sangstha alone operates around 23 floating schools, along with 5 health clinics and a combination library-playground boat, all provided free of charge to communities in need. These efforts have not gone unnoticed. Over the years, the organization has garnered international recognition, including the Access to Learning Award from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the UNDP Equator Prize, and the UN Prize for Inspiring Environmental Action. Each accolade is a testament to the transformative power of bringing education to the water's edge. Floating schools have inspired a wave of similar innovations across Bangladesh and beyond. The Arcadia Education Center in South Kanarkor, for example, is an amphibious building that floats during floods and settles back onto land as the waters recede. Constructed from local bamboo and recycled materials, Arcadia serves as a preschool, a vocational training center, and a nursery, all under one roof. Its design cleverly blends resilience with sustainability, offering a model for flood-resistant infrastructure that is both affordable and environmentally friendly. Another major player in this movement is BRAC, one of the world's largest non-governmental development organizations, recognizing the unique challenges faced by children in the wetland, or HAORD, regions. BRAC introduced its own fleet of boat schools. These schools reach over 14,000 children, delivering lessons, meals, and hope to communities where traditional schools would simply be impossible. The success of BRAC's program has earned it a place among the world's top 100 education innovations, as ranked by the 100ED Initiative. What unites these diverse approaches, whether they are moving boats or amphibious buildings, is a shared belief in the right to education, no matter the circumstances. Floating schools ensure that floods, which might once have spelled months of lost learning, are no longer an insurmountable obstacle. Instead, these schools embody the principle that education should be adaptable, resilient, and accessible to all. The advantages of such an approach extend beyond mere continuity. Floating schools foster a sense of safety and inclusion, particularly for girls, who are often the first to be pulled out of school when travel becomes risky or arduous. With the classroom arriving at their doorstep, parents are more willing to allow their daughters to pursue their studies. Moreover, by integrating additional services, like mobile clinics, libraries, and entertainment, these schools become hubs of community development, improving health and well-being alongside academic achievement. At the heart of this innovation is a spirit of resourcefulness. The materials used to build the boats and amphibious structures, bamboo, reeds, recycled plastic, are locally sourced and inexpensive, making the model not only sustainable, but also replicable in other flood-prone regions. Solar panels provide clean, renewable energy, while rainwater collection systems offer safe drinking water. In every detail, from the design of the boats to the curriculum they carry, there is a commitment to maximizing impact while minimizing cost. The story of floating schools in Bangladesh is more than a tale of adaptation. It is an inspiring example of how communities can harness their unique environments to create opportunities. Where rivers were once seen as barriers, they are now transformed into pathways to knowledge. Where floods once meant isolation, they now bring the promise of a teacher's guiding hand and a classroom afloat. For students like Runa, who once watched the waters rise and her school disappear beneath them, the arrival of the boat school is a lifeline. She and her classmates no longer fear the monsoon season. Instead, they wait on the riverbank, eager for the sound of the boat's engine and the promise of another day of learning. The floating school does not just bring education, it brings hope, connection, and the possibility of a brighter future. The lessons of Bangladesh's floating schools resonate far beyond its borders. As climate change intensifies and extreme weather events become more common, the need for resilient, adaptive education systems has never been greater. The models pioneered here, boats that float, buildings that rise and fall with the waters, offer a blueprint for other vulnerable regions across the globe. They show that with creativity, determination, and a willingness to meet challenges head-on, it is possible to ensure that every child, no matter where they live, can access the education they deserve. In sum, floating schools are more than a creative response to a difficult problem. They are a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the enduring value of education. They remind us that learning should not be hostage to circumstance, but rather that it can be as fluid and adaptable as the rivers themselves. In the face of rising waters, Bangladesh's floating schools stand as a beacon of resilience, illuminating the path toward a more inclusive, equitable, and hopeful future for all.